Why do we march? Too many people from across our country have suffered before the COVID-19 pandemic. And the number of people who suffer from economic ruin and instability has only grown since. And while working class people continue to suffer, wealth inequity has allowed the wealth of billionaires to grow by $2 trillion as they profit off of this crisis. And so we lift up our United Methodist social principles, which declare the strength of a political system depends upon the full and willing participation of its citizens. And the church should continually exert a strong ethical influence upon the state, supporting policies and programs deemed to be just and opposing policies and programs that are unjust. Their cries for help have been ignored by far too many of our elected representatives. And so as people of faith, we demand a change in our nation's direction.
On Saturday, June 18th, join thousands of people from across the nation who will represent diverse faith traditions and advocacy organizations to demand that our collective voice for economic and political change be heard. We invite you to be a part of the mass poor people's and low-wage workers Assembly Moral March on Washington and to the polls on June 18th. Go to bwcumc.org/PPC legislation and see the legislation that moves us to march on June 18th. What can we do? The conference has also put together several action steps that we can take right now. First, register for the Moral March on Washington and to the polls at bwcumc.org/June18register. Second, send us a story about how you or a loved one is impacted by the economic and political crisis that our country now faces. Tell others what motivates you to march on June 18th. Take a video and send it in today. Write your story and email it to communications@bwcumc.org.
Third, come to the Conference Mission Center for a poster-making event on Saturday, June 11th. We'll create posters to carry at the march on June 18th. You can bring your art supplies. The poster board, light refreshments, and music will be provided as we get creative and meet other congregations who will march on Saturday, June 18th alongside us. You can register for this event at bwcumc.org/PPC poster making. Fourth, join others on June 17th at 4 p.m. to volunteer at a communal meal and memorial service organized by the Poor People's Campaign. It will be at Freedom Plaza, just across from the White House. Everyone who will march on June 18th and all in the DC area hungry for a meal are welcome. Volunteers are still needed to welcome guests, serve food, and hand out resources. The meal will be followed by a memorial service at the Lincoln Memorial, where we will honor the lives we have lost to COVID-19. To join the conference in this volunteering opportunity, email Fatima Rifki at frifki@bwcumc.org. And finally, on Saturday, June 18th, come out with your congregations and join thousands of others for the mass Poor People's and Low-Wage Workers Assembly Moral March on Washington and the polls. We will meet at the U.S. Botanical Gardens at 8:30 a.m. so we can march together in faith as United Methodists. Once we have gathered together, we will join thousands of our fellow marchers.
To learn more, go to bwcumc.org/PPC22, where you will find all the details on each of these action items. We look forward to seeing you on June 18th as we march for economic equity and a just change together.